The Detroit Lions scouting department has their eyes locked on something special happening down in Nashville. And what I'm about to share with you could reshape how we think about our tight end position moving into next season. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, your #1 destination for breaking updates, insider analysis, and everything you need to know about our Detroit Lions. I'm bringing you critical information today about a player whose journey through college football reads like something out of a movie script. A talent that Brad Holmes and his team need to be watching closely this Saturday, and a potential draft target that could solve one of our most pressing needs after Sam Laporta's devastating injury. This isn't just another name on a draft board. This is about identifying the kind of versatile, athletic playmaker who fits exactly what Dan Campbell wants in this offense. And I'm going to walk you through why this matters so much for Lions Nation. Stay locked in because by the end of this breakdown, you'll understand exactly who we're talking about and why he could be wearing Honolulu blue sooner than you think. Let me set the stage for where the Lions are right now at the tight end position. Sam Laporta's injury has been a massive blow to our offensive game plan. Laporta wasn't just a receiving threat, he was a complete tight end who could block, run routes from multiple alignments, and create mismatches all over the field. Losing him for most of the season forced us to rely more heavily on Brock Wright, who has done an admirable job stepping up, but let's be honest, we need more depth and talent at this position moving forward. Wright is only under contract through 2026, and while he's been solid, the Lions need to be thinking long-term about how to maintain the elite tight end play we've become accustomed to. Laporta. This is where smart scouting and draft preparation become absolutely critical. Brad Holmes has built this Lions roster into a contender through exceptional draft work, identifying players who fit our culture and our system perfectly. The majority of our stars, outside of Jared Goff, came through the draft, and that's a testament to how well our scouting department evaluates talent. As we head toward another draft cycle, the Lions need to be identifying the next wave of talent that can keep this championship window open for years to come. That process starts right now, with college football's biggest games happening every Saturday, giving our scouts live opportunities to evaluate the prospects who could be difference makers in Motown. Saturday's slate of games features several intriguing prospects that the Lions should absolutely be monitoring. There are offensive linemen who could provide depth and competition along our line, linebackers who bring the kind of athleticism and instincts that our defense values, and most importantly for today's discussion, tight ends who represent the future of that position in our offense. The tight end class in this upcoming draft has some really interesting names, players with different skill sets and development curves. But there's one name in particular that keeps coming up in draft circles as someone who could be a perfect fit for what the Lions need. That player is Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, and his story is absolutely fascinating. Stowers didn't start his college career as a tight end. In fact, he began as a quarterback, which immediately tells you something about his football intelligence, his understanding of offensive concept, and his overall athleticism. Standing at 6'4" and weighing 235 pounds, Stowers had the size that made coaches think he could be a dual-threat quarterback at the college level. He started at Texas A&M, one of the premier programs in college football, but he couldn't crack the starting lineup in College Station despite his physical tools. Rather than give up on his football dreams, Stowers made a bold decision. He transferred to New Mexico State, looking for an opportunity to prove himself as a quarterback. But once again, he found himself behind another signal caller, a guy named Diego Pavia who won the starting job. Here's where Stowers' story takes its most important turn. Instead of transferring again or walking away from football, he made a position change that would alter the trajectory of his entire career. Stowers converted to tight end, using his size, athleticism, and football IQ to reinvent himself as a pass-catching weapon. And here's the kicker. Pavia, the quarterback who beat him out, started throwing him the ball, and Stowers excelled in his new role. When Pavia transferred to Vanderbilt, Stowers followed him, and that's where his career has truly taken off. In his first season with the Commodores, Stowers put up over 600 receiving yards, announcing himself as one of the more productive tight ends in the SEC. This season, he's matched that production again, hauling in another 600-plus yards and finding the end zone 9 times. 9 touchdowns from the tight end position is elite production at any level, and doing it in the SEC against top-tier competition makes it even more impressive. His most recent performance against Auburn saw him explode for 122 yards, showcasing his ability to take over games when his team needs him most. Pro Football Focus, one of the most respected analytical services in football, has Stowers graded as a top 5 tight end in all of college football. That's not just Cesar Psych tight ends or Group of 5 tight ends. That's every tight end in the country. When PFF ranks you that highly, NFL scouts take notice. The combination of production, athleticism, and the intangibles that come from playing quarterback early in your career make Stowers an incredibly intriguing prospect for teams looking to add a dynamic tight end. Now let's talk about why Stowers makes so much sense specifically for the Detroit Lions. First and foremost, we need to address the elephant in the room, which is the tight end depth chart moving forward. Laporta is our franchise tight end when healthy. There's no question about that. But football is a violent game. Injuries happen, and you can never have too much talent at important positions. Brock Wright has been serviceable, but is he the long-term answer as our number 2 tight end? Adding a player like Stowers through the draft will give us another weapon who can contribute immediately while also developing into a potential starter if needed down the road. What makes Stowers particularly appealing for our offense is his versatility. Because he played quarterback, he understands defensive coverages at a level most tight ends never reach. He can read safeties, identify soft spots in zone coverage, and adjust his routes based on what the defense is showing. That football intelligence is invaluable in Ben Johnson's offense, which asks tight ends to do so much more than just run straight line routes. We need tight ends who can work all 3 levels of the field, who can create separation against linebackers and safeties, and who can make plays after the catch. Stowers checks all those boxes. His athleticism is another major selling point. Converting from quarterback to tight end means Stowers has the kind of movement skills and body control that you don't typically see from players who grew up at that position. He can change direction smoothly, he has the speed to threaten defenses vertically, and he's shown the ability to make contested catches in traffic. Those are the traits that translate directly to MFL success. When you watch his tape, you see a player who's still developing the nuances of tight end play, but who has the raw tools to become something special. At the next level, there are some concerns that scouts will have with Stowers, and we need to address them honestly. His age is one factor, as he spent several years in college already between his time at Texas A&M, New Mexico State, and now Vanderbilt. He's not a 19 or 20-year-old prospect with unlimited developmental runway ahead of him. His size, while good for a tight end, isn't elite compared to some of the massive receiving tight ends we see in today's NFL. And his blocking ability, which is always a question mark for converted quarterbacks, will need significant development before he can be trusted as an every-down tight end in the league. But here's the thing about those concerns. The Lions have shown they can develop players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We've seen how our coaching staff has maximized the talents of players who came in with question marks and turned them into productive contributors. Stowers' blocking can be coached up. His understanding of leverage and hand placement will improve with NFL-level instruction. And his natural athleticism gives him a foundation to build on. The age concern is real, but it also means he's more mature and ready to contribute immediately rather than needing years of seasoning before seeing the field. A draft value perspective. Stowers is currently projected to go somewhere in the late 2nd round to early 3rd round range. That's a sweet spot for the Lions, who typically pick later in rounds due to our success and who could use those mid-round picks to add impact talent without breaking the bank. A 2nd or 3rd round investment in a tight end with Stowers' upside is the kind of calculated risk that good organizations take. You're not using a premium 1st round pick on a position where you already have a star, but you're also not waiting until day 3 and hoping to find a diamond in the rough. It's smart roster building this Saturday. Vanderbilt hosts Kentucky in a 3:30 Eastern kickoff, and you can bet that Lions scouts will be watching closely. This is a critical game for Vanderbilt's season, and it's another opportunity for Stowers to showcase his abilities against SEC competition. How he performs against Kentucky's defense, how he responds to different coverage looks, and whether he can continue his touchdown production will all factor into his draft stock. For Lions fans who want to get a preview of a potential future target, this game is must-watch television. The broader point here is that the Lions are in a position where we need to keep adding young talent. through the draft to sustain our success. We've built something special in Detroit, a culture of toughness and accountability, a roster loaded with playmakers, and a coaching staff that gets the absolute most out of every player. But maintaining that excellence requires constant evaluation and smart decision-making in the draft. Players like Eli Stowers represent the kind of value that can keep our championship window open for years. He's not a household name yet. He's not getting the same attention as some of the flashier prospects, but he's exactly the type of player who could thrive in our system and become a fan favorite in Detroit. Think about what our offense could look like with both Laporta and Stowers healthy and productive. We could run 2 tight end sets that would be absolute nightmares for defenses to match up against. We could move them around, create mismatches, and give Jared Goff even more weapons to work with in the passing game. The flexibility that kind of personnel grouping provides is enormous, and it's something that championship offenses utilize effectively. The Lions' offense is already one of the most explosive in the NFL, but adding another dynamic tight end would take it to an even higher level. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, Lions Nation. Have you watched Eli Stowers play this season? Do you think he's the kind of prospect the Lions should target in the draft? Where would you be comfortable using a pick on a tight end, given our other needs? Would you rather see us address the position early or wait until later rounds? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I genuinely want to know how you feel about our draft strategy and what positions you think we should prioritize. Let's build the most informed fan community in the NFL right here. If you want to stay on top of every development with the Detroit Lions, every scouting report, every injury update, every piece of breaking news that matters, you need to be subscribed to Lions News Fan Report. Hit that subscribe button right now and smash the notification bell so you never miss a video. I'll be here bringing you comprehensive coverage all season long, breaking down every game, every player, and every decision that impacts our quest for a championship. Give this video a thumbs up if you found this analysis valuable, and share it with your fellow Lions fans so everyone in our community stays informed. Until next time, keep that same energy, stay passionate about our team, and let's keep believing in what we're building here in Detroit. 1. Pride.